Okay, so hello everyone. Today I will be presenting a talk on effect of combined stress in crop plants, and I will be discussing it from an Indian perspective, presenting consolidated information about ongoing work in India. So, just to introduce briefly about the various factors which affect plant growth, here's a representation of how pathogen or biotic factors like bacteria, fungi, virus, and nematode, and environmental factors such as light, water, salinity interact with the host plant, and any alteration in these factors will result in a disease phenotype. So, one or more stress can occur simultaneously. So these stress combination can be broadly divided into three categories. One first being the abiotic category, second being the biotic category, and third being the abiotic stress combination. So first, let's see work done related to abiotic stress combination, and I will be talking about research groups working on this abiotic stress combined stress in India. So, this article is from Dr. Nayar's group from Punjab University, Chandigarh. This group has been actively working on heat and drought stress, studying its impact on chickpea. So, we will see some major findings published from this group first. So this article, which talks about effect of individual and combined heat and drought stress during seed filling on the oxidative metabolism and yield of chickpea genotypes differing in heat and drought tolerance. So they tested a few chickpea genotypes under individual and combined heat and drought uh, stress combination. Among the genotype tested, all the genotype tested here, genotype ICC 8950, which is a drought tolerant genotype, performed better under stress condition. Here you can see the four treatments which were given to in this experiment. So the major findings from this article was that a drought tolerant genotype, this ICC 8950, produced more seed yield under the combined heat and drought stress compared to other chickpea genotype. And they have also shown that the stress damages membrane and decreased photosystem function and chlorophyll content, and levels of oxidative molecules such as malon dialdehyde and H2O2 increased in all stress treatments, especially under combined heat and drought stress. So another article from Dr. Nayar's group highlighted individual and combined effect of transient drought and heat stress on carbon assimilation and seed filling in chickpea. Here also, if you see this graph, genotype ICC 8950 performed better than other genotypes tested. So the graph here shows the Rubisco activity, which was better in this 8950 cultivar. So here also they have listed the major changes which occur in the physiology of plant, which is stress damaged membranes, decreased cellular oxidizing ability, stomatal conductance, PS2 function, and chlorophyll content. And this damage was greater under combined stress. Rubisco activity decreased under combined stress, and sucrose, starch, and their biosynthetic enzymes also decreased under stress condition. And one major takeaway point from this article is that this effect was more severe in heat and drought sensitive genotype compared to drought tolerant genotypes. So, this group has also worked on a lentil, studying the influence of drought and heat stress applied independently or in combination during seed development on qualitative and quantitative aspect of seeds of lentil genotypes differing in drought sensitivity. So here they have tested two genotypes, one being drought tolerant genotype, which is DPL 53, and other being the drought sensitive genotype, which is LL 699. So here also both heat and drought resulted in reduction in rate and duration of seed filling to decrease and ultimately decrease the final seed size. And combined stress also accentuated the damage to seed starch storage proteins and their fractions, minerals, and several amino acid. So the graph here shows uh, accumulation of storage protein, different storage protein under four different stress condition: control, heat, drought, and combined stress of heat and drought. So we see that under combined stress, both the genotypes, drought tolerant and drought sensitive genotype, show decreased level of storage proteins. So another study done on lentil from this group only highlighted effects of drought, heat, and their interaction on growth, yield, and photosynthetic function on of lentil genotypes, varying in heat and drought sensitivity. So here four genotypes were tested: drought tolerant genotype DPL 53, drought sensitive genotype ILL 2150, heat tolerant genotype IG 2507, and heat sensitive genotype IG 3973. So in this picture, you can see that drought and heat tolerant you can see the pointer here. So drought tolerant and heat tolerant performed better under combined stress, which is the panel D and panel L below. So these pots have been arranged in this sequence: just control, drought, heat, and heat plus drought. So here the tolerant genotype performed better under combined stress. So moving on from the same article, here the picture shows the change in seed size. So these are the same genotype, which already I have told the previous slide. And here also the tolerant genotype have better seed size compared to the sensitive genotypes, and also seed sucrose level decreased with each stress, which is heat and drought, along with its biosynthetic enzyme. Another study published by Indian Institute of Soybean Research, which is an ICAR institute in Indore, they tested two genotypes of soybean at different growth stage. One is the vegetative stage and other at the reproductive stage. So they have measured the impact of combined stress of high temperature and water deficit on growth and yield of soybean. So here, a genotype JS97-52 has shown a major reduction under stress condition, and they also observed an overall reduced growth and yield up to 70% under combined stress condition compared to individual stress. So this study was published from Banaras Hindu University in Varanasi. This study showed a combined effect of ozone and water deficiency on wheat uh, genotype, this HD2967. And here they have summarized that elevated ozone levels along with water deficiency has more detrimental effect on wheat yield. So from the graph, if you see, they have grain weight per plant, 1,000 grain weight, and number of grains and the harvest index. So if you see here, the last bar graph, which is elevated ozone plus water deficit stress, so it is reduced in all the graph. Again, simply stating that this elevated ozone levels along with the water deficiency will have more detrimental effect on wheat growth. So this next study is from Central Soil Salinity Research Institute, Karnal, in Haryana, and they have also shown negative effect of boron and salt on wheat. So here, if you see in the graph, um, the total so these are the treatments which they have given. So they have used boron 50 ppm plus 60 millimolar NaCl, and they have increased the concentration in the next treatment for both the stress, boron and salt. And here, if you see, the total soluble sugar reduced with increase in boron and salt concentration in this graph. And these are the wheat varieties which they have tested. Actually, this is KRL 210 and HD 2009 here. And proline concentration, if you see, it increased with the stress induction. So as the concentration of the boron and salt increased, the proline levels have also increased. So proline, we know that it is a stress marker which is clearly visible from the observation from here also, that as the levels have increased, the stress increases, and therefore the increase in proline level is also observed. Total soluble protein in this graph also it also decreased under concentration of boron and salt, although it is not that significant enough as discussed in case of sugars and prolines. So now we will see work done under second category, which is biotic stress combination. So under this category, the first study being coming from this Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, which shows effect of fungus and nematode interaction in the tomato. So here, Fusarium is the fungal species which they have used, and Melidogyne incognita is the nematode species. So disease complex of these two pathogen was studied. And if you see this table here and you see treatment number 4, so this shows the maximum wilt index incidence, sorry, and vascular infection was maximum for this treatment, wherein the this pathogen was inoculated sequentially after nematode inoculation. So again, this shows that combined disease complex is more severe compared to the individual stress. So moving on to the next article. So attempts are being made by this Punjab Agricultural University, Ludhiana, to combine Ascochyta blight and botrytis grey mold resistance in chickpea through interspecific hybridization. So here they have done introgression of high levels of this Ascochyta blight and botrytis grey mold resistance in cultivated chickpea from the wild relatives. So they have identified accession of 7 wild Sisal species and evaluated and identified. So these are the Sisal species which they have evaluated, and they have identified them as potential donors. And they have also raised after crossing, they have checked lines for the resistance to these two diseases, and they have found 62 F9 lines resistant to Escochita blight, and botrytis gray mold disease. So, from the past decades, Indian group have been constantly working to understand effect of various biotic stress on chickpea. So, University of Agricultural Sciences GKVK Bangalore has published reports analyzing Fusarium and Melidogyne disease complex in different chickpea cultivars. So here, cultivar Radhe, if you see here, so they have tested different cultivars for their susceptibility to these two pathogen complex. So one is the root knot here and fungal wilt here. So if you see, cultivar Radhe is uh, showing resistance to fungal wilt, to both the to fungal wilt. So coming on to our last and third category of combined stress. So we will now see studies related to abiotic biotic stress combination. So firstly, a report from International Crop Research Institute for the semi-arid tropics, or which we popularly call as ICRISAT. So a group from ICRISAT showed effect of soil moisture and Sclerotium rolfsi on collar rot in chickpea. So if you look at this graph here, so it shows correlation between soil moisture and disease incidence. So once the disease onset begins, there is a direct correlation between progression and moisture level. So which means at higher moisture soil moisture condition, the disease will be more severe. They all so the this graph here, they have also measured show the expression level of different pathogenesis related genes, two of which are shown here. So two chickpea cultivars were used, which is Angiri and ICCV 05530, to check expression of PR2 and PR4, and up to 48 hours of post treatment samples were collected, and under combined stress, expression of PR was more. If you see here, under combined stress, the expression of PR was uh, more. So PR2 was higher in cultivar of in cultivar was this ICCV 05530, and PR4 was more in cultivar Annagiri. So moving ahead, a report from Centurion University of Technology, Odisha, highlights correlation between rice blast disease outbreak and meteorological factors such as rainfall and temperature. So, if you see the table here, this summarizes the disease severity over a period of few years. So, you see here that the disease index was maximum in October and November, when temperature and humidity condition was more. So this again highlights the importance of interaction of this abiotic factor with the biotic factor, and here in this case being the rice blast disease. So moving ahead, this report from our institute NIPGR Delhi shows the impact of drought stress on simultaneously occurring pathogen infection in field grown chickpea. So the observations here were made for 4 consecutive years, and you can see that under combined stress, the I have highlighted the values here. So this is the incidence of black root rot disease in chickpea. So this disease incidence were more compared to individual stress, or moderate stress, and it was very high for severe combined stress. And from the same article, incidence of dry root rot was also observed. So here also, under severe combined stress, the disease incidence was maximum. So from the future perspective, we as plant biologists, we know that combined stress ultimately results in yield loss, and to overcome this loss, mitigation strategies are required. So one being this these are few possible mitigation strategies which could be possible for future. So one being use of this plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, which is popularly known as PGPR, and by developing tolerant crop cultivars and using them on field, by use of fertilizer in case where certain nutrient deficiency are observed, and deployment of biocontrol species, and also new species should be experimentally tested under different stress condition. And of course, meteorological correlation studies are also important to understand the relationship between weather condition and field grown crop health. So one such example is this study which was recently published, which highlights the effect of Hellomonas rhizobacteria of Avicennia marina. So Avicennia marina is a mangrove plant of Indian Sundarbans. So it promotes this Halomonas bacteria isolated from this tree, promote rice growth under saline and heavy metal stress through exopolysaccharide um, production. So, in this study, they have shown that if you see the graph here, average root length and average shoot length, it was so. This is a control plant. Here, the plant are in stressed condition under combined arsenic and saline condition, and here the plant have been supplemented with Helomina species exo 1, and this is bacterial consortia which they have used in the study. So this is a group of bacteria of other Halominas community. So in this there are different species coming together, and this is specifically Halomina species exo 1. So we see that the rice plant tend to seem perform better when they were supplemented with Halominas. And in the panel B also, if you see the weight of vegetative part, it was better observed when the growing rice plant under stress condition were supplemented with Halumina species exo 1 and bacterial consortia. So, just to sum up, more effects are required to identify species which can act as biocontrol for specific stress combination. And we know that India, being a country of diverse geographical segment, is in need of conducting relevant research in combined stress area to build a stable agriculture for future. So more such studies are required. So thank you.